small business owners out there. This is Cherie Jones with Legacy Team Associates with another episode of I Have a Resource Partner for That. And Legacy Team Associates, I started Legacy Team Associates about 6 years ago with the goal of helping small business owners who are out there not only to survive, but to thrive. And I have this series where I'm inviting some of my resource partners on so that the small business owners out there can learn about some of the programs out there that can help and be very helpful. And just a little bit about Legacy Team Associates. We are the trusted resource partners for small business owners, again, looking to thrive, not just survive, and also to leave a legacy behind to their families. And we do this by way of financing, growth strategies, and exit strategies. So if you need help with any of those, we're happy to do so. Without any further ado, we're going to bring on Jeff Rocker. He's with RPM Savings, and I want him to introduce himself. And Jeff, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself and your company, that would be wonderful.
Well, thank you, Cherie, for inviting me to talk about one of the programs that we're having a lot of success helping all our small business clients with. And just really appreciate you and appreciate your passion for helping small businesses. And I love the word that you use, thrive. I think that's so important. And myself and my two partners, Ron and Ken, we have that same spirit about us. We really we work solely in the small business community, and we've been doing it for a couple of decades.
Mm-hmm.
And like you, have been working to help small businesses face the challenges that they have to just stay alive, especially in this day and age after COVID and now the inflation and all the things that are hitting us. So lots of great programs out there. We specialize in federal incentive programs. That's what we do. And our job is to help our clients understand what's out there, how they qualify for them, and then how to submit to access those programs. And that's how we
Okay.
help.
Wonderful. And today, specifically, we're going to talk about ERTC. Now, if you're a small business owner out there, I'm sure you've been bombarded with emails, phone calls, voicemails, all types of companies approaching you saying, hey, you may be eligible or you are eligible, your business is eligible. So can you tell us a little bit about what ERTC is? And today what I would like to do is actually dispel the myths that are out there, get the information out there so that the business owners can understand, one, what it is, two, how they qualify, and three, how your company is different in the way that you process.
Okay, well, a lot of people will know the program by the initials ERC.
Okay.
ERC stands for Employee Retention Credit. It's also expanded out to also known as the Employee Retention Tax Credit.
Okay.
That's why we like to call it the ERTC program. But I've noticed on a lot of the commercials I see on TV or the radio ads, everybody says ERC. So
Mm-hmm.
either ERC or ERTC, it's one and the same. Basically, back in 2020 in March, if you remember, the country was under the grasp of a COVID pandemic. Small businesses were being forced to shut down by the government. We didn't know what was going to happen. Everybody was getting sent home. Employers, all of a sudden had business one day, next day did not have any business clients. And so the big issue was, how am I going to keep my employees paid? How am I going to take care of my most important asset for my company, my employees?
Absolutely.
So the government was good in creating a program called the CARES Act, and that passed into law on March 13th of 2020. The CARES Act had two major funding components for small businesses. One was the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP loan, which
Okay.
I'm sure most of you small business owners out there took advantage of that. There were two loans, a PPP1 and a PP2 loan. And
Mm-hmm.
if you use that money to pay for payroll and some narrowly defined company expenses, then the government actually forgave that loan and you didn't have to pay it back. And so at the time, not only was there the PPP loan, but there was also the ERC tax credit.
Mm,
It was not a tax credit refund initially, it was a tax credit. So if you were paying for W-2 employees, then you would qualify for some tax credits that you could use to offset money that you had to pay Uncle Sam, taxes that you had to pay Uncle Sam as a small business. So payroll taxes, business taxes, things like that. And then in the very beginning, you were not allowed to get both the PPP loan and the ERC tax credits. It
okay.
was one or the other. So
Mm-hmm.
what happened was is most businesses went after the money, the
Mm-hmm.
PPP loans, and got those. Very few, a very teeny tiny percentage went after the ERC tax credits.
Okay.
So the government smartly changed some rules about the ERC portion of the CARES Act in December of 2020, and they made it so that you could get both the PPP and the ERC, just not at the same time, meaning that one of the ways that you got the PPP money forgiven was to use it for payroll taxes, or
Okay.
excuse me, use it for payroll. So when the months that you used it to pay payroll, you could not also claim the ERC tax credits during just those months. But
Okay.
before then and after then, you could claim the ERC tax credits. And then they changed it from just a tax credit to you actually could get a tax credit refund, as they called it,
Okay.
meaning whatever monies were due you, you didn't get to only use them to offset taxes that you owed. You actually could get a refund check back if there was monies that were due you. So a great program. Problem is that it ended in September 31st of 2021. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of small businesses did not know of the changes that were made in December of 2020. So initially they had been told by their accountants or CPAs that they didn't qualify for whatever the reasons were. And then now they did qualify because of some of the changes and they weren't aware of that. So they missed out on actually filing for their ERC refunds. So the government said, hey, look, what we're going to do is we're going to allow you to retroactively go back and claim your ERC refunds, and they extended it out. So it actually goes through April 15th of 2024.
Okay.
Part of the ERC tax credit for 2020 will go away. And then April 15th of 2025, part of the ERC tax credit for 2021 will go away. And the whole program will completely go away or sunset in 2027. So
Okay.
small businesses have some time to apply for and receive their ERC refunds. Um, it's a great program. This money is sitting out there. It's waiting for you. It doesn't go away like the PPP where they had to put money kind of in a fund and it
Mm-hmm.
ran out real quick and they had to, put more money in. This is part of the taxes that a business pays in. It's already paid for programs like this, disaster relief programs, and that's, how the money is available. So if you are a small business and you paid W-2 employees in 2020 and the first 3 quarters of 2021, then more than likely you have money sitting out there with your name on it and you just need to claim it. And that's what
Okay.
we're here to help
That's
you with.
great. That's great because again, there's so many people out there. You're hearing different information, and most companies are out there saying, "Oh, $26,000." Can you share with me, Jeff, like what your experience has been with the companies that you've dealt with? How many have you filed on behalf of other companies, and how is your company a little bit different?
Well, we have a CPA partner firm that we actually work with a CPA partner firm and an EA partner firm. The CPA partner firm that we have worked with, they have collectively done probably 1,500 or more small businesses, their ERC refunds. I would say easily over $1 billion of refunds.
Okay.
Us personally, our clients that we have taken to our CPA and EA partner We have done a little over 500 or so small businesses, and I would say maybe 30% of those, maybe 40% have received their ERC refunds. The rest are waiting.
Okay.
One of the big myths I like to dispel out there is they talk about $26,000, and yes,
Mm-hmm.
if everything was perfect, and in business is never perfect, but if it was, then you would actually qualify for $26,000 for each W-2 employee. But that's not the way it works, because each quarter and actually each payroll period, an employee is eligible to receive a tax ERC tax credit. So did they work for that payroll period and that quarter fully
Mm-hmm.
and access the full amount of tax credit that was available? A lot of times we see people working part-time, or they didn't work for some months during the COVID,
Mm-hmm.
pandemic in 2020 and 2021. The
Okay.
other thing that happens is, again, as I mentioned earlier, you can't collect both the PPP money and the ERC tax credits at the same time. So
Okay.
whatever months that the employer used the PPP money, again, you don't qualify for the ERC tax credit during those months. So I can tell you that with our clients, well over 5,000 employees that make up our clients' companies, I can tell you that our average refund is right around that $15,000 mark per employee.
Okay. Okay.
Now, I have some companies that have received in the low 20s have averaged. I have some companies that are 17, 18,000, but I can tell you that the majority are going to be somewhere around that $15,000 number. So
Okay.
if an employer takes however many employees, W-2 employees that they had, multiplies it by $15,000, that's what they can expect to receive back in a refund.
Okay. And that's
So,
good to know because
yeah,
if you're expecting 26,000 and you're going on the premise of that, and then it's significantly lower, then you may be disappointed. But I think it's always better to just give a median, or an expectation, and then if it exceeds that, then that's just gravy, right? But you
yeah.
have a clear expectation of what to come. So for you, you're just saying basically an ideal client is who?
An ideal client is anybody that has, in our case, we're rare, we're the exception, because our goal is to help small businesses. That's our primary mission. And so we'll go with one employee. Most of the people that are doing the work that we're doing out there, we call them processors, require you
Hmm.
to have a minimum of 5 or more employees.
Okay.
They're not in it to really help the business owner. They're more in it
Right.
to put some money in their pocket, so they want to make a certain amount. We don't, it's not the way we look at it. We want to develop a relationship with the small business owner. We want to help him with multiple programs. This is just the first of many. And so we're willing to go down to one employee.
Okay. And
So
that's wonderful because again, as a small business owner, you're wearing multiple hats. And, I heard some number out there that 94% of certain business owners only have 1 to 2 employees. So you don't want to exclude anybody from the funds that are out there. And that's, hats off to you for actually doing that because, everybody needs help right now to try to, again, survive and then ultimately thrive through inflation and some of these other things and all the challenges that small business owners are being hit with
e-
currently.
exactly, Sheree. I mean, imagine a small business, even if they had just one employee back then, $15,000 is a lot to a small business.
It
I can
is.
buy a new machine that could help pay for a new, work truck. I know it won't pay for all of it, but you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying. In
Yeah.
this day and age, every dollar counts as a small business.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
and they say what's sad, and I just want to share this with you, is they say that once this law, the ERC law goes away, or the program goes away, there'll be somewhere in the neighborhood of 60% of all eligible small businesses will not have applied. And that is just sad to us. It's like
Yeah.
every one of those deserve this money because their taxes that they pay, payroll and business taxes, are covering the cost of this. That's where this
Mm-hmm.
money is coming from. So anyway,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's great too, to know that even if you have that one employee, you are eligible. So remember, folks out there, Jeff said down to one employee, they're happy to help. And he's got a slew of other programs that can be helpful as well. Let's not leave any money on the table, because it can be very helpful, whether that's marketing programs, whatever the case may be, to bridge you over to be able to survive and thrive in these times. Now, can you give me a case study, just like general terms of a client that you recently helped, and what that process was like?
well, I'll tell you just kind of quickly what we do is we work with a business owner and we gather some payroll information and some 941 payroll tax form filing information, some PPP information, and profit and loss statement information. Those are
Okay.
basically the four major categories of information that we gather. And that's all from 2020 and 2021. The
Okay.
profit and loss, we do ask to see 2019, because one of the ways that you qualify is if you had a reduction in income in
Hmm.
2020 and
Okay.
2021 as compared to before the pandemic in 2019.
Okay.
So that's why we ask for the profit and loss, so we can look and see if you qualify for that. Otherwise, there's
Hmm.
lots of other reasons why you would qualify. But a recent person that we helped, a very sweet, kind, older lady, just beautiful. If you picture a grandma, everybody picture a grandma in your mind. Her name is Carol, and she's just such a one. You want to just hug her, and she'll come up and pinch your cheeks. One of those type of people. And so we were referred to her. She has two homes, and she helps elderly people when they get to that point where they need help and they
Okay.
need somebody to watch over them. And she's really a hands-on. She's not one of those business owners that just goes out and gets the federal money for a home and puts up a home that doesn't have a lot of love and caring. She is just all about love and caring. And so she was always kind of skeptical. She says, I never get these things and they never
Mm.
work out for me. And so we worked with her and we actually got her approved. And I can remember the day that we called to let her know what she was going to get. And she just cried. And
Oh.
but it was such a warm, and she just sobbed about how she was going to use that money to help some of the people that were at her facility. And, so um, we love what we do and we love helping small business owners, and it's just the compassion and the passion that's out there as a small business owner is just amazing, and we're able to help facilitate that. So as far as a case study, we have lots of happy customers. I can't say we've ever had an unhappy customer, because as my partner Ron likes to say, we're kind of rolling up to their building and walking through the front doors with a wheelbarrow full of money. you
Hmm. Hmm.
and it's so funny to see how many times they don't realize they qualify for this, and then when
Right.
they actually get their checks, they're amazed. And
Yes.
so anyway.
We won't say it's free money, but it's money that you have to do a little bit of work to get, which is basically supplying you with the information. But once you get it, I'm sure it's just so satisfying as a small business owner, because right now, I mean, even funding with the market tightening the way it is, a lot of the banks are, being a lot more stringent with what they're lending. And then even the private lenders that were before able to help small business owners, it's getting tighter and tighter and more difficult to get money right now with inflation the way it is. So programs like this could be the key to helping a business owner keep their doors open, and not be part of the statistic that 85% of small businesses fail within the first 3 years. So hopefully, you guys can definitely help with that. Um, would you say there's any risk in implementing this ERC program, again, with so many people, saying, oh, we can help? Tell us a little bit about the risk that may be involved, and then how you guys are a little different than some of those other companies out there.
Well, risk, for the business owner, I personally don't feel that there's any risk. as long as the information that they share is accurate and real information, and they do not try to be dishonest in any way.
Okay.
If they had 8 employees and back in 2020, let's say, during a quarter, they filed a 941 payroll form and it showed 8 employees on there,
Mm-hmm.
and they give me that information and we process it, we submit in for the refund, everything's good. There's no issue. It's the people
Okay.
that try to commit fraud, and so they'll add a couple of more employees
Mm-hmm.
to the information they send to us, and then we process it and we submit it in. And now all of a sudden there might be some fraud tied to that. So as long as
Okay.
the business owner is honest and forthright and shares the correct and accurate information, then they'll have nothing to worry about.
Okay.
Um, Secondly, the IRS initially does not make an evaluation whether you qualify for the ERC loan or not. All you're doing is you're amending your quarterly payroll tax filing to include the ERC tax credits,
Okay.
which puts you in a situation of overpaying the government for payroll taxes. And so they're
Mm-hmm.
going to send you back a refund. So the
Okay.
government's computer automatically processes your submission in
Mm-hmm.
and for the ERC refund, and you're going to get back a check. Now,
Okay.
how they're going to, hopefully catch the people that are the bad guys is they're going to audit around 3% of all businesses that applied for and received an ERC refund. They're going to audit. So
Okay.
when they audit, that's where it's really important. The danger from the standpoint, if a business owner works with somebody who does not have a CPA partner or is not a CPA or EA, then they are exposing themselves to the processor doing information that was incorrect,
Okay.
therefore setting them up for a situation where maybe they didn't qualify for the loan in the first
Mm-hmm.
place, so they may have
Mm-hmm.
to pay it back, right? And then there'll be fees and penalties that they'll have to pay. So it's very
Okay.
important for a business owner to pick somebody who has a CPA or an EA connected into the relationship under a contract, so
Mm-hmm.
that in the event the customer is ever audited, then that CPA or that EA will appear on behalf of the customer and work with the IRS auditor to show that all of the work that they did. Why
Okay.
did the business owner qualify? Where in the ERC statute does it say they qualified? And
Mm-hmm.
then all of the calculations and the work behind it. How did they do it? And so they'll prove, almost like, an audit, it is an audit. So they would prove that they did the information correctly. So
Okay.
having, there's a lot of people that jumped in the game to be a processor. You want to make
Mm-hmm.
sure you're working with somebody that is bonded, has an accounting license, is going to be there in the event that you ever get audited. So in
Okay.
our case at RPM, we have a partner that's part of our organization. His name is Carl DeMillig. He is an IRS enrolled agent EA. And so what he does is he goes through and audits all of our information processing that we do, from the
Mm-hmm.
standpoint that he sees why we say a customer qualifies under the statute and where we say he goes in to check to make sure through the IRS that is correct and they do qualify. And secondly, he checks all of the calculations work to make sure that it's accurate and nothing has been missed. And then he creates the 941X forms and
Okay.
he sends those to the client and he signs on the bottom of those and he puts his license and bond on the line in the event that the client ever gets audited. Then his firm will come step in and help that client at no cost to the client and represent them with the IRS.
Okay. And that
Very,
is
very
significant.
important. It's very
Yes.
important that small businesses do that because 3% of us are going to get audited for our ERC refunds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no
Yeah,
way
and if
around
you've
it.
got some fly-by-night processor who is just trying to get money, a lot of these companies too are charging money up front.
Yep.
you guys don't charge, and then you've got this guarantee on the back end that if the company is part of that 3% and does get audited, that you've got someone to represent you, which is very, very key. You don't want something like this to end up putting you out of business because you get audited and then you've got to pay this money back and you don't have the means to do so.
Yeah, and I'd like to just point out there, you are correct. We charge 15%, 1 5, of whatever the refund the customer gets back. And the customer doesn't pay us until 30 days after they've received their money from the IRS.
Okay.
I would highly recommend that all small businesses that do this with a processor never work with somebody that's trying to charge you something up front.
Hmm.
They can wait. Yes, there's some work that has to be done. Yes, there's some time and effort, energy, and some payroll that we have to pay at our end. But the honest, good people that are trying to do this to truly help the small business owner will wait to get paid if and when our customer gets paid. And if the
Absolutely.
customer doesn't receive a refund, then our customer does not owe us any money for all the work that we've done on their behalf to try to get that refund. That's another
Okay.
important thing.
Yeah,
Some
that's huge. That's
companies
a
will still charge
huge,
you. Yeah.
yeah, that's a huge, huge differentiating factor for you guys. And again, hats off for doing this. Um, Let me ask you this as it relates to, let's say I have a business and I have 3 employees and I qualified for 15,000 per employee, 45,000. Can I expect to get that in one check, or is it split up over a series of quarters? How are the payments normally received as a business owner?
Well, what the IRS does most of the time is they lump all 4 quarters of 2020 together into one refund check.
Okay, okay,
Because how it worked out is in 2020, the employer was eligible to receive up to $5,000 for each employee that qualified for the ERC refund.
okay,
In 2021, they were eligible to receive up to $7,000 per employee for the first 3 quarters. So that's 21,000. So 21,000 plus 5 in 2020, that's where you come up with that 26,000. So
okay,
what will happen is that the customer will receive one check for 2020, and then they will receive an individual check for each quarter of 2021. So they could receive up to 4 checks.
okay,
There has been some instances where some of our clients are actually getting a check for each quarter, whether it's 2020 or 2021. The IRS is kind of funny in how they do things. Sometimes they do it this way, sometimes they do it that way. So we do have some customers that have received up to 6 or 7 checks because there's a
okay.
total of 7 quarters that are available in 2020 and 2021 to
Okay,
receive.
that's good to know, because as a business owner, if you qualify for a certain amount and you're expecting all of that at once, you want to know that there may be instances where it will be split up. So I just want to make sure that we set the proper expectation.
And
Okay,
and the
and so
checks, real quick,
go
Sheila,
ahead.
let me just share that the checks will come in over like about a 2 week period of time.
Okay,
So you'll get one check and then, you might get another check the next day and, that type of thing. It'll come in about 2 weeks, you'll have everything. Occasionally, I would say maybe 1 or 2 of our clients out of 10, they get 2 or 3 checks and they're still waiting on a couple. And then that's where we get on the phone on their behalf and talk to the IRS and find out where they are, to
okay,
keep them informed. It's important to keep the
wonderful.
clients informed.
Wonderful. It's just like when you're waiting on that tax return, right? If you've got money coming in, you're calling the number, finding out where that money is, because
Right.
we all can use a little bit of extra money, a little bit of extra resources. Well, wonderful, Jeff. I think that you have done a fantastic job of dispelling the myths out there about this ERTC or ERC program. And so, what I want to share with all of our watchers out there is, how do we work with you? What is the best way to implement the process as it relates to, getting qualified and seeing what we qualify for?
Well, again, our passion is to help small business owners succeed and to whatever is easiest for them. So, a couple of things I'd like to share. The first thing is we have an ebook and we share with you actually how to file your own ERC. for your own ERC refund. If you're one of those people that likes to do that kind of work and get in there and get your payroll out and dig through the numbers and come up with that and get everything filled out and submitted in, we've got an ebook that'll take you step by step on how to do that. For those of you that are too busy with doing things and say, I don't mind paying somebody 15% to take care of this for me, we're here. You can reach out to Cherie and get our number from her, and or however you want to do that. Cherie will do that anyway, and we'll get you out at what we call a punch list. It'll have some list the items that we need, those 4 kind of major categories, tell you what we need. You get that to us, we'll have it processed and done in 2 weeks. We'll have a phone call, let you know why you qualify, how much you qualify to receive. If you say okay, then we'll send out the 941X forms. You sign those, send them to the IRS. Once the IRS receives them, you can expect to receive your payment within 6 months. That's how it
Perfect.
works. It is going to take a little while. So for those of you that get in and do this in the next couple of months, you're looking first of next year before you'll start to see your money coming in.
Okay.
So,
And
and
that's
again,
good to
our
set the,
motivation, our last thing is our motivation is not about, trying to make as much as we can off you. We want to help you because we want to grow a relationship, and help with some other programs that are out there. So.
and that's wonderful. And it's so important to know that this is not the only thing that you guys do. It's not the only feather in your cap. You have so many other programs that can be helpful to small business owners who are out there. So guys, you heard it directly from Jeff. He wants to help. We want to help because we understand what's going on out there in the marketplace with inflation and all kinds of other hurdles that small business owners have to overcome right now. If you want to reach out to us, my website is www.yourlegacy.team. .team, and you can reach out to me. You can book a call right there on the site, and then we can talk about the program and get you your intake form and everything that you need in order to take advantage of this program. So hopefully we have met our goal today of dispelling the myth of the ERTC and the ERC program so that you guys have a clearer understanding of what it is, why it's important to work with someone who is signed up with the CPA or an EA to ensure that if you are that 3% that gets audited, that you are protected going forward. If you're working with a company that's fly by night and just a processor here today and gone tomorrow, you're on your own if something were to happen. So we want to make sure that you're protected at all costs. So thank you so much for your time, Jeff. I really appreciate it. And what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to bring Jeff back on because, again, he's got more programs than just this one. So we're going to talk to him in future weeks to talk about some of the other federal programs that are out there that you may be able to take advantage of, again, because we want to help you not only survive, but thrive in these times. So thank you so much for your time, Jeff, and you have a fantastic day. And until next time, this is Cherie Jones signing off with Legacy Team Associates. Have a great day.